this is something that I really struggle with a lot. Like I said, I'm a big giver. And so like sometimes I just like jump to it right away, and I don't stop and think it. Then afterwards, I'm like, oh man, like dang, like that was tough. Like now I'm in a, kind of hurting a little bit. But the biggest things and the most important, and I can't stress enough, is pray about it. Pray, ask for wisdom, ask for put it at God's feet. If you're uneasy about it and you're unsure, with it being somebody you're doing it for or the task that you're doing, pray about it. Second thing I would say is discern, the situation, the person, figure out what their intentions are behind it. Figure out, what's going to come of you helping them. Like, is it going to harm someone else? Things like that. And that's extreme, but what are the intentions behind? What are the intentions behind that? And then again, like we touched on earlier, like it's, God doesn't call us to serve everybody at every given point in time, right? So, just because because if you can't do it now, you can't. You also might not be at that point in time, at that moment, financially ready to give or have the time to give. And that's okay. God will call you when necessary and you will be ready. So it's just one of those things of giving yourself some grace, like, dang, I can't help right now, or dang, I can't do this at this point in time. It's okay. Like when you're called to serve, like you will be prepared, and it's just remembering that. But yeah, it's praying, it's discerning, it's giving yourself grace. Those are some of the things that I think about.
So how does a person remove the burden of always, I guess, pressure to say yes? Because, if you don't say yes, you might have FOMO, fear of missing out, like I should have said yes, and stuff like that. So how does someone remove that burden? Because sometimes your yes can lead to your detriment.
Yeah, again, that's for someone like myself that loves to give and, loves to help out everywhere I can, like it's giving yourself some grace. Like God gives you grace, give yourself some grace. Because there are times where I'm like, yeah, I really want to help and I know I can't, or like sometimes I help and I do knowing that I'm not. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say it. It's like, somebody, say for example, you got somebody, homeless, or something like that, or, somebody asking for money or need something. And yeah, you just do it out of the goodness of your heart. You don't know what you got in your bank account, things like that. You don't know what you got left. And, it's always great to serve and give and things like that. But, it may not have been the best time. Like now you don't have to do it all the time. And that's something that I've had to learn is just like, give yourself some grace, like allow things, let somebody else bless that person, if you can't do it, if you really can't do it, think about it, pray about it if you really can't do it. So it's like I said, for someone like me, it's just giving yourself some grace.
And I believe God would never ask us for something we don't have.
Right.
God would not tell you. There might be some crazy situation, but I don't think God was like, hey, you need to go borrow $10,000 so you can give. If you don't have it, you ask God to provide a way.
Right. Right. And he'll provide, like he'll provide when you don't when you don't realize it, before you notice it. Oh, that's why you gave me that money, things like that. Like that's why, to steward what you've given me and all that stuff. So for sure.
But then it goes back to the whole us being selfish versus being selfless. Because sometimes if $10,000 hit my account, hey, I got some student loans that call my name.
Right. No, I hear that for sure. And then, like again, that's like you get some money. Like the first thing you think about, okay, what I'm gonna do? Like, where am I going? Like, what am I doing this weekend? Or what can I buy? Like, it's just the stuff I've been looking for. But then, that's an opportunity to tithe more. Like that's something I've been praying about. It's just like, Lord, I want to, tithe more. And Pastor Kent talked a little bit ago about, tithing, your service, your time, and things like that. And that really helps out a lot. Because sometimes I'm just like, man, I wish I had more money to tithe, like I'm not in a financial place to give as much as I want and stuff like that. But also, your service, your time, using your spiritual gifts, is also a part of that, along with wanting to, be able to tithe more financially, but those all count as well. So yeah, it's just it's that's good. Yeah.
So is there any other last advice you want to give to people who might get taken advantage of because of their willingness to say yes?
Yeah, I would just say just discern the situation, the person, the motivations, the intentions. And again, if you feel uneasy or something like that about it, pray about it. I've said prayer like 1,000 times. Like pray about it, pray about it. Like I hang my hat on prayer because God answers prayer. He really does.
And I think we need to tell the people who's listening to this conversation that it's okay to say no.
Oh, it's definitely okay to say no, especially if you're not in, like, again, if you're not in the, and give yourself some grace, especially if you're not in the, like, if you have a day packed full of stuff and you can't take a minute, that's okay. If you don't have the finances at the time, that's okay. You might not have been called in that situation to help someone out, to serve. So it's okay to say no. That doesn't mean that you're a bad friend. That doesn't mean you don't love your neighbor. That doesn't mean that you don't want to help. It just means you can't at that time, and that is okay.
And this is not a relationship seminar, but let me tell you right now, if you say no and the person you say no to makes you feel bad for saying no, you have to reevaluate that friendship or that relationship.
Right.
Like let's go down there a little bit. Let's help some people out right now, Warren. Like people need to realize that if people try to guilt you into saying yes, they're not really for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just my opinion. If you say no because you're trying to recharge yourself, and it's like, oh well, we've been friends since like 3rd grade, and how you going? I was there for you when you were that time. Now you can't be here for me. You need to reevaluate that friendship.
Right. And the first thing I'm gonna think about if somebody does that to me, I'm like, oh, what are your intentions? Like, where's your heart at? Like, really? Like, especially for someone like if I think like, and I don't want to put my situation on anybody else's, but for someone like me that loves to give, like loves to be generous to others, like if you ever do me like that, I'm just like where's your heart at? Like what's your intention behind it? Are you serious? Like it's just like it's okay to say no, and if somebody gets upset at you for saying no, then they didn't need your help in the first place.
Yeah, because there's a thin line between someone serving and someone getting abused.
Right.
And that's the thing. And there's a lot of people, we can go into this a little bit. There's a lot of people that are dealing with church hurt because a leader who's supposed to represent Jesus, a leader took their love of service and used it they used it against them. So people love to serve, but now they want to serve their own self-interest. The leaders do, and then after that, that's what led to the church hurt because they got abused, spiritually abused, and saying all this other stuff. Like some of the stuff I hear, I'm like, that's just ridiculous. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah, I get that.
So, anything else you want to add? Well, and if you dealt with church hurt or being spiritually abused, like my man Warren's been saying, you got to pray about it. You got to give it to Jesus because only Jesus can heal. But what I've heard a long time ago is Jesus only heal what you choose to reveal. If you don't choose to reveal the abuse, if you don't choose to reveal the hurt, there's nothing Jesus can do. But when you present it to God, God can start to transform your heart and restore your heart.
Amen.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more content, subscribe over here and watch the next video over there. God bless you.